You cannot die. You cannot eat. You cannot feel warmth. You cannot remember your wife's face, your child's name, or the last morning you woke up and belonged to yourself. Sauron did not destroy you. He kept you, hollowed out, leashed, because a dead servant is useless. You are the most powerful being in Middle-earth, and you are completely enslaved. You were a king, not a border lord with a muddy hill and a handful of spearmen. A real king. Court, treasury, armies, a lineage that meant something. Tolkien doesn't name all 9 of you, but he tells us what you were, the greatest men of the Second Age. Sorcerers, commanders. Camel, who becomes the second most powerful of the 9, was a lord of the Easterlings, a man entire nations answered to. That is who Sauron chose, not the weak. Never the weak. He didn't come with threats. He came wearing a beautiful face and a beautiful name, Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, around the year 1600 of the Second Age, when the rings of power were being handed out and Sauron still bothered to be charming. He looked at your kingdom and told you the truth. You deserve more. He looked at your mortality, that slow, humiliating countdown every man is born into, and offered you a way out. You took it. Any honest man would have. The ring slid onto your finger and the world sharpened. Your will felt larger. Your enemies felt smaller. For years, maybe decades, it delivered everything it promised. You were stronger. You were feared. You were winning. And you were already gone. You just couldn't feel it yet. It starts small. Everything terrible always does. The first thing you notice is the sunlight. It used to feel good, that simple animal pleasure of warmth on skin after a cold morning. Now it feels thin, distant, like light seen through thick glass. You tell yourself it's fatigue, the weight of rule. You tell yourself a lot of things, but then the shadows start to feel better. You hold your audiences in the evening. You walk the battlements at midnight, not out of vigilance, but relief. The dark is comfortable in a way you can't explain. You've started organizing your entire existence around the moments when the ring feels most alive. Your advisors notice before you do. Your wife notices before you do. The edges of you are softening. The things that made you you, your humor, your memories, the particular way you loved the people you loved, are growing quieter. Not gone. Not yet. Like a fire no longer fed. Sauron tells you this is normal, the price of power. The discomfort will pass. He isn't lying, exactly. It does pass, because eventually you lose the ability to feel it. By the Third Age, the Nazgûl, though Larry, the enslaved, are neither living nor dead. You exist in a twilight state, invisible to the living world unless clothed in physical form. You perceive everything through the Wraith realm now, where Sauron's will presses behind your eyes like a burning coal at every waking moment. The eye, always the eye. There was no single moment of defeat, no morning you chose surrender. It happened in the spaces between moments, the quiet erosion of centuries, until the king who took that ring is simply gone. What remains is a will that is no longer your own, wearing the shape of a man like a coat that has forgotten it was borrowed. You don't remember when you stopped fighting it. That is the most frightening part. You ride out from Minas Morgul on the 15th of September, Third Age 3018. You know the date not because you feel time, you stopped feeling that long ago, but because Sauron's will is a clock you cannot switch off. One purpose, one obsession. The One Ring has surfaced in a small green country called the Shire, and you are going to find it. Your horse is no ordinary animal. No natural beast can long endure your presence. You are not a king on horseback anymore. You are a void in the shape of a rider. Animals flee. Children go silent. Grown men feel a coldness in their chests they cannot name and will spend the rest of their lives trying to describe. You wear a crown still. Tolkien tells us this. Beneath the hood, the Witch King wears a crown with no visible head beneath it. The crown remained when the man dissolved. That image should horrify you. It doesn't. Horror requires a self. The hobbits call what precedes you the Black Breath. It isn't a metaphor. It is the physical exhalation of your unbeing pressing against the living world. Those who breathe too much of it sink into a darkness that ordinary healers cannot reach. Only Aragorn, with Athelas and the authority of his bloodline, can pull someone back from where it sends them. You don't think about what you do to people. That capacity is gone. What you do feel, the last unbearable remnant of your humanity, is the ring. When it's near, something stirs that has no name. The ghost of the man you were, pressing his face against glass he cannot break, reaching toward the very thing that destroyed him. Sauron knows this. It's why you are the perfect hunter. It's also why you are the most dangerous custodian, because somewhere inside the nothing, something still wants. You ride through the night. You do not eat. You do not sleep. 3,000 years of permanent, edgeless wakefulness. And still you ride, because there is nothing left in you that can say no. It happens on a road in the Shire, a narrow dirt lane, pipeweed and chimney smoke, a cottage close enough that you can hear, faintly, a family inside, and then a sound you were not prepared for, a child laughing, that particular high, unguarded laugh with no performance in it, just pure, uncomplicated delight at something small, something that will be forgotten by morning. You stop your horse. Sauron's will does not pause for this. The urgency in you does not pause for this. And yet something, that last impossible ember, holds you motionless on the road, listening. And for one moment, you remember. A courtyard. Stone. Sun-warmed. A child running. Your child, though the face is gone. Smoothed away by centuries like a carving left in the rain. The specific weight of small hands. The feeling of laughing at something they did. You remember thinking, in that courtyard, that this was what the kingdom was for. Not the armies, not the treasury. This. The memory lasts 3 seconds. Then Sauron's will closes over it like water over a stone. But in those 3 seconds, you are, briefly, a man again. And being a man again, after everything, is the most exquisite agony you have felt in an age of the world. Because a man can feel loss, can understand fully what was taken from him and what he handed over willingly, and how those two things became impossible to tell apart somewhere in the first few centuries. Tolkien does not give us the true names of 8 of the 9. They have been consumed. What remains are titles. The Witch King, Commel the Easterling, shadows of men who once had mothers who named them something, who had a first word, a last good day. The child at the window recoils. The laugh dies. The silence that follows is the silence of something living encountering an absence, not a monster, not a stranger, but a wrongness, the place where a soul should be. You turn your horse and ride on. But for 3 seconds, you were a king who loved his child. The ring is destroyed on the 25th of March, Third Age 3019. You are there. You are always where Sauron needs you. That is the final indignity, that you have no elsewhere. The Witch King fell months before on the Pelennor fields, unmade by a hobbit's blade and a shield maiden of Rohan, who looked into the void where your face should be, and did not flinch. But you, one of the 8 who remained, you are here, circling Orodruin on your winged beast when the mountain begins to move. And then the ring goes into the fire. Tolkien does not call what happens next death. He calls it the end of your shadow, the unraveling of the dark power that held your diminished spirit in the world. You are swept away like creatures of wind, like shadows before a great light. No body, no final breath, no moment of peace, no return of the man you were for one last instant. Just stopping. And here is the question Tolkien does not answer. Where do you go? Men who died naturally went to the halls of Mandos. Eventually, after rest, they were released, beyond the circles of the world, to wherever lies past the music that made everything. That was the gift of men, mortality as grace. But you didn't die naturally. You were suspended, hollowed, enslaved for 3,000 years by a power that was never yours. When it collapses, is there anything left to receive judgment? Or had the man already slipped away quietly centuries ago while the shell of him rode on in the dark? Tolkien does not say, and that silence is the most honest thing he could have written. He did not simply kill you. He made your ending a question without an answer. He complicated your soul beyond resolution, slowly, in increments too small to feel, until the feeling itself was gone. You were a king. You had a child who laughed in a sunlit courtyard. You made one fatal decision. The mountain falls, the tower crumbles, and whatever was left of you, if anything was left, finally stops.